Hi there, it's a girl Nene Cherry here, and it's good to be back. Yeah, to those that are watching me for the first time, you are welcome, and hopefully you're going to stay by subscribing, liking, commenting, and sharing as to many people as you can, and hitting that notification button so that when I upload a new video, you will be among the MVPs. And I mean, I say this all the time. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And to those that, have been here, from day one, I am really grateful, and I'll keep on saying this. Thank you so much. We are going to do what we have to do to actually be here. Come rain or sunshine, all right? So now, today, I want to talk about finding purpose in this unforgiving world. And I have some notes that are written down, so don't mind me when I read, but it's going to save its purpose. Do you get it? It's going to serve its purpose. Yeah, so I will not really define what purpose is, because I think by now, to whoever that is watching knows this, or if let me not just even play oblivious to think that everybody would know. But I mean, this is why we have dictionaries. This is why we have, I always call it Uncle Google to actually help us to do that. But well, I want to actually explain it in a biblical form, or define it in a biblical form, that purpose is actually is defined as being created by God, all right, in his image, for his glory, and to do good, and for the fact that he has preordained us. He has preordained you and I. And this is what it means to have purpose in God. And this is the only way actually we can find our purpose in this unforgiving world. And why we're saying unforgiving world, I think we can all understand how this world, not that it has become, but that it has been, because this world is not our home, so it has never been so good, but now it's even worse than it has been, right? So one needs to be reflecting of God's character, so becoming conformed to the image of his son Jesus Christ, okay? And the other one is worship and service. And worship and service is about loving the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and loving your neighbors as yourself. And I think I mentioned this at the time when I was doing a presentation of self-love. And I explained, and I think there is a link to this, that I had explained to say, you know what, there's no way you can claim to love yourself if you do not love your neighbor, and above all else, loving God. So it's about worshiping God and being of service and loving God with all your heart, your mind, your soul, and also loving your neighbor, and also doing God's work. This is in engaging in God's prepared beforehand for you to walk in. And we can find this in Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10. Now, finding purpose in this unforgiving world, in a world that can feel so harsh, okay, and unforgiving, the Bible provides a solid anchor feeling of purpose, and that is like detours have purpose. So you know what, there's certain things, or some of us here, we can actually relate to, think that at the place that we are at is not what we thought about, or it's not something that we dreamt about, but we are here. But you must understand that every step that you are in, or everything that you're facing, is something that is actually directing you to your purpose. Okay, or they have its purpose. So even chaos, God works in that, because you need to understand that God still works for your good. All right. And with this one, this reminds me of my favorite verse, which is Romans 8, verse 28, which says, all things work together for good to those who love the Lord. In that moment of chaos, understand that in there you can find your purpose. In there, God is there, and he's working for your good. Things may be happening to you, but it's not necessarily to you, but for you. And if you understand this, it will help you to find who you are, or finding the purpose that God has given you in this unforgiving world. And also trusting in the midst of fear. I want to relate this to a parent and a child. See how children are so trusting of their parents. I don't know now, because I've never had or experienced even with my own kids, but I remember then when we were young, whether somebody was huge or full of muscles or anything, and if they do anything wrong, we believed and trusted in our parents that, hey, if I report this to my parents, they will be able to help me, or they will come through for me. So even in the midst of fear, you must be able to trust that God has got my back. God is walking with me. God is beside me, and he will fight for me. All right. You can also read Psalms 37, verse 23 to 24, and Psalms 138, verse 8. So now, how do we discover your God-given purpose? Now, discovering your purpose is a journey. This is something that we need to understand. It's a journey, but it starts with you surrendering to God, giving your life to God, leaving it all at Jesus' feet so that he may guide you and lead you to where you're supposed to be. you also need to study his word. You need to spend time in reading his word, because through reading, it's where we find him speaking to us. And as we're looking to him to lead us, we will hear his word telling us on what we're supposed to do. And something also that is quite important is it's us utilizing the talents that God has given unto us, not becoming like one of those servants that hid, that just because it was a one talent thing and then they had to hide it, to bury it under the ground. We need to actually use these things, to use these talents, use these talents that God has given unto us. All right. Because God has given you a specific gift. You must understand that each one of us are different. And a specific gift can be one, some can be 5, can be 10, and it's nothing to brag about, because it's only by God's grace. There's some people that are just good at hospitality. There's some that are just good at singing. There are those that can sing actually, and then they can preach. And there are those that can just sing but cannot preach, or even can be public speakers and everything. So you must understand that we are blessed different. And on this case, actually, we must also understand that we can't actually compare ourselves to other people, because we are uniquely formed or made in a way that God wants us to be. So let us stick to who we are and trying to find our purpose. Now, listen to your passions. You also need to see the things that you are interested in. I remember in growing up, when we're doing, there's this, I think it was called Autobook, and there was a place where it would say hobbies and whatever, and you'd find that some hobbies that I may like, my friend wouldn't like them, and some things that I'm interested in, it's something that another person wouldn't be interested in. So you must actually listen to your passions, the things that you're always passionate about. You will find, and you will definitely find your purpose in there. And I think I am going to leave it to here, because it's a wide lesson where you actually can debunk a lot from it and learn from it. But last thing that I want to say is that also seek for a community that is favorable for you to unlock your purpose. And when we talk about community, it can be church, going to church, and maybe the departments that you can be given. It's something that you have to look into. Otherwise, remember to sparkle in love with a dash of kindness as you get on a journey in finding your purpose in this unforgiving world. Otherwise, bye.